One. What's up, and welcome back to That's Crazy to Me with your host, Moss.
And Ace.
Here today, we are with our special guest, my good friend, Collin, and we are
What's up,
talking
y'all?
about the absolute state of the gaming industry today. We're gonna let you go first on that, Collin. What are your thoughts on some of the
Fantastic.
big happenings?
I'm gonna go through a little thing here. On February 24th, 2022, Russia had launched its military invasion on Ukraine. February 6th, 2023, Turkey experienced a large-scale earthquake, huge tragedy causing over 50,000 deaths and 100,000 injured. June 5th, Diablo 4 is launched, and hours later, Blizzard announces that they will be raising World of Warcraft subscription prices for Ukraine and Turkey because, God, they are not giving us enough money.
You know what? That is, for all you folks who didn't know who Blizzard was before, I think that's about all you need to know.
That's all you need to know. They used to be so good. And now, oh God, Bobby Kotick needs his new yacht.
I was trying to figure out where this was going with, and I was like, so Blizzard is really trying to raise the prices of those two countries that's going through
trying.
the
Trying, they've done it.
Yes.
But
They have announced that they will be doing this in July, hours after Diablo 4 had launched, because if they'd done it any previously, it wouldn't have probably gone very well for them or the launch for Diablo 4.
It's like, hey, I know y'all going through a war, and I know y'all going through a massive earthquake. Let me just recover. But we're just gonna raise World of Warcraft just like a couple more dollars.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit.
And you know the worst
we're not
part?
we're not gonna help y'all at all. We're just gonna be like, here. I know y'all can't afford it, but we're just gonna raise it a little bit. Who even plays World of Warcraft anymore anyway?
See, that's what I was saying. The worst part is they're still going to pay for it. Have you met a World of Warcraft player?
No, I have never. That's what I'm talking about.
I can tell by you
never
asking
met
that.
one. I have never met one in for my life.
Oh boy.
Let me tell you about the average World of Warcraft player, Ace.
Okay, let's
My first exposure to Blizzard back in the day was about the summer of 2007, and I was playing Kingdom Hearts 2 on my PS2. My stepfather had taken my gaming computer because he was too busy playing World of Warcraft to clean his own, and unfortunately it had exploded due to much dust getting in that fan of his CPU. One day I got real bored of Kingdom Hearts 2 because I was on the Mulan level, and we all know how that went.
Don't talk about the Mulan level.
Do not talk about the Mulan level. I was so bored out of my mind that I walked into my stepdad's office. He was in a dungeon called Karazhan, a raid. And I'd said, "Hey, Dad, can I have my PC back? It's been months." And he looks at me and he says, "Shut up, you fucking..." And that was my first exposure to the N-word. I asked my mother, "Mom, what does this mean? Dad's angry and he's playing World of Warcraft and he called me some word." My God, she was mad. My God, she was mad. And that's about your average World of Warcraft player.
Least obsessed World of Warcraft player.
Nearly ruined my mother and my stepfather's relationship, unfortunately.
A game ruined a relationship? Now, that's crazy to me. A game, and you know, even crazier thing. I used to, okay, but let me explain the story. I used to have a friend that was in a 5-year committed relationship. They was gonna get married in October, right? He played this little game called League of Legends.
Oh. I just know where this is going.
Let's just say his ex-girlfriend is with my best friend now, and they about to get married.
And I assume this guy does not play League of Legends.
I
and
assume
the
he
other
still
dude does
does.
not play League of Legends.
Bravo. She found a
But
keeper.
but we have a problem because one of the cast of That's Crazy to Me plays it and loves it. That would be me.
Uh
A lot of
I don't
my
know if sorry, you go on.
a lot of my other friends will know that whenever I see them play it, I call it the devil's game because I think I'm funny.
Well, let me tell you this, Ace. Online, on all the games I play and on Steam, my moniker is Quinn. And can you guess why?
Because you quit the game.
Quinn. Because I played nothing but Quinn, top lane.
So what you're saying is, I'm gonna have to get your number. We're gonna have to play some later. Got you.
Might have to. I haven't played in probably about like 6 or 8 months, but I've always
You're
kind of wanted to
telling
get
me
back in.
almost you've been almost a year sober from that game and you're gonna go back? Don't do it. Do not do it.
But what? Go ahead, Quinn. Because I know you got something to say. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, the only reason I don't play League of Legends is because I can't get through more than half my games in one day without being told to kill myself.
Yep.
Even if I'm doing well, I pick Quinn, and the first thing I hear in the lobby is, "God damn it, fucker! Why don't you kill yourself?"
See that?
That's why I refuse to play it.
I think a reason why I think it is your team. If you messed up with like a lot of randos and you just solo queue things, that gets a lot boring fast. And then I just was doing some research. Did you know that League of Legends is the top game when it comes to prize pools and tournaments?
Absolutely, they have plenty of money selling skins for $10 to $20.
That's even a crazier thing though. It's like all these gaming. It's like the greed is coming to all the gaming people because they know that people are going to spend money on like people on Valorant. Have you ever played Valorant? Have you even
I
heard
have
of
played Valorant. I played everything.
Valorant? People are spending $50, not even on costumes for the agents. They spending $50, $60 on cosmetics for guns.
But that dragon animation is just so cool.
That's my problem right there. That's my situation right there. They gotta justify spending that much money. So my thing is, you spend all this money. You spend all this money. What is the satisfaction are you getting?
Your screen looks prettier than it did before.
Well, can't argue with that.
Can't argue with that.
Pretty
That's
screen
why
wins. I want my particle effects.
There's cosmetics in Diablo 4 that just came out, and one of those armor sets doesn't have any stats. It's just a cosmetic. Costs $28.
And let me guess, you bought it?
No, I'd argue that the gear that I have looks way better than that.
How much you pay for it?
I wouldn't recommend it. Because since the shop only gives you cosmetics, you're walking around Sanctuary with a big "I paid for it" sticker on your face.
Moss, what you over there quiet? I know you got some embarrassing. I paid for some money games.
Oh no.
I think. Oh, you know what? Yeah. As a young teenager of around 14, 15, I was absolutely scammed by Clash of Clans. I fell into it hard. I don't know how much I spent. I know that it was under $100, but the fact that I spent more than 10 is just absolutely insane. I would never today, but I was literally a freshman in high school, so like, what are you gonna do?
I got you beat on that. I was playing this game called Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links. This when it first came out.
God.
What? How y'all gonna say "Oh God" already? Y'all didn't even give me a chance to explain how much money I spent on this game.
Oh, good lord!
It's a card game. You didn't even have to.
Yeah, no, you did not.
Look. I was going over my budget, right? And I was like, man, why? Like, you know, when you just think about like all the money you spent over the years and stuff like that. And I was looking at the year 2017. This one, 2017, 2018. This one, Duel Links came out. I spent over $250.
Oh,
What the hell?
Look, it wasn't on one purchase now. It was like $10 here,
I,
$20 there, sprinkling out another $10 there.
I just
Look, I had to get the card. I want the one card to complete a deck.
like I said, card games.
I got you beat there, man.
Okay.
I've bought every World of Warcraft expansion that's come out. $50 to $60 per, man. 40 to 60, depending on the editions nowadays. I bought Dragonflight when it came out, 6 months to a year ago. I played it for probably a month. And I just realized, man, there's so many better fucking games out right now that I could be playing. Didn't pick it back up.
I'm gonna have to agree with you. It's like with the gaming industry and everything, it's so like I think maybe our first set of round of episodes we were talking about gaming and how the old classics, not the gotcha games, and not that you got buy this and buy that, and those was the best games. Don't y'all agree?
Yeah. And now we're getting shit where you buy it and you find out that it's not even fully finished and the game barely works. But they call it a full release.
God.
Are we talking about Cyberpunk?
We're talking about
Maybe
like
we're
half the
talking about
games that have
Star
come
Wars.
out.
Oh, what's going on with
Star Wars Jedi Survivor. I spent $5,000 on a gaming PC and I can't even play Jedi Fallen Survivor.
See. I was having a little problem with that when I was thinking about that too, because I was like, "Why would I get a gaming PC, or would I just go spend $500 on a console and just play my games on there?"
See, a PC has just more utility to it than a console does, which was my main reason for getting one. Like, sure, I could, spend a lot less and just get the newest Xbox, but it's like I can't do a third of the stuff with that Xbox that I can with a PC on top of just video games. And then it also plays video games well. And you know what? It plays video games a lot better if they weren't bogged down with all of that extra bullshit, de novo and garbage.
De Nouveau, what's that?
You've never heard of De Nouveau before?
Mm-mm.
It is a form of DRM, which is basically like a copyright protection software on a game that cannot be cracked very easily. There's one person who is a 20-something schizophrenic maniac, and she's the only one who can do it.
Schizophrenic
maniac. Yeah,
wow.
No, she absolutely crazy, goes on huge rants, called out the industry and was like, I'm going to fight against you. Every game you release with this stupid software, I will crack it. Fuck you. Whatever. And no one knows who she actually is, so she ain't gonna get caught. But basically with De Nouveau, and why everyone hates it, is because if it's implemented poorly and lazily into a game, what you find is that it constantly checks your game to the internet and just the files itself to say, yes, this game is legitimate. It's a legitimate copy. But a lot of times it connects to the internet over and over. It scans the files over and over, like every few minutes, to a point that when Borderlands 3 had it, I think it still does, streamers could barely stream it because it was taking so much of their upload bandwidth to stream the game that they couldn't even stream it. And then Borderlands 3 stream numbers went rock bottom. You find, like, with Street Fighter 6, a lot of people said that the demo ran incredibly, and then last second they add De Nouveau, and then all of a sudden people are complaining of stutters. Horrible performance. They can't even hit 60 FPS anymore on their good computers.
So So the Cyberpunk had this Denuvo system because that was a big game that I was talking about. Then once that mug came out, it was just garbage.
They did not. They did not have to.
No, that had many,
I do not
many
believe so.
other problems.
Because I was waiting for that game, but that game was just, that game when it came out crashed my PS4.
Yeah,
The developers of the Nouveau, or the developers of Cyberpunk, begged and begged CD Projekt Red to not release the game, and they did it anyway because they didn't want to keep delaying it. But every time they delayed it, they kept setting unrealistic dates, and that's why you see what you have. There is a video I would like to refer to you, Ace, called, and if you haven't heard of it, Moss, called Cyber El Bugado bug compilation. It is an internal bug video in the format of a meme with kazoo sounds and crappy recorder playing of the devs of Cyberpunk making a compilation of all of the insane, dumb, silly glitches to show to the publisher and the executives to say, hey, look at how awful this is. And they were like, no, we're going to release it.
They gonna still release it because that's what I'm talking about. The gaming industry is just getting so money hungry. They just gonna release anything and people are gonna buy it. People are gonna buy it.
So in the case of CD Projekt Red, there's actually some information that had come out within the last year or two that, yes, it is their fault, but there were unforeseen circumstances that they did not anticipate that wasted too much of their time. And investors just kept getting mad at them. It came out that the QOL testers, have you ever heard of a quality tester for video games, Ace?
Yes.
So the quality testing company was the one that worked on Witcher 3. They had a bunch of veterans that were quality testing the game, and the game still came out with quite a few bugs, but it wasn't unplayable like Cyberpunk. When they went to go hire the same company, they said, you know, our game's going to be huge. It's going to be like next level shit. We need those people. They got a bunch of people who hadn't even been doing it for a year, and none of the people that had tested for Witcher 3. And with that company, they had a very specific set of guidelines of our people who are barely started doing this, you need to get this many bugs a day. So what would happen is they would just, because they had this dumb policy, they would essentially just be like, oh, my gun's kind of flickering. Check. All right, the shadow here isn't working very well. Check. Get their 10 or whatever bugs a day and call it a day. And there were so many, even just minor bugs that they could just use to meet their quota that they didn't have to care about the game-breaking ones. And by the time they figured this out, they were already way down the pipeline telling investors that they were on it. But after something like that, you can't really recover.
No.
Dang.
I never knew that.
Just complicated, man.
I never knew that. That's crazy. And then while we on the subject on bad games or bad decisions when it comes to gaming, people, let's talk about these remakes. Did y'all hear that Fable was coming out with a remake?
I mean, we don't actually know if it's a remake. It might be. I think it's a soft reboot, to be honest. I think they're like more or less starting over. And I, for one, as a basically lifelong Fable fan, am still very excited for it.
It is a reboot of the original trilogy. It is not a remake.
Okay. Hey, you looked that one real fast. Or you already knew?
I already knew that.
Okay. So how do y'all feel about reboots and remakes about popular things? Because now everybody's doing it. Mortal Kombat 1 is a reboot, remake, everything. That's a reboot. That's the famous reboot. How they rebooted everything. And Kingdom Hearts, I found out Kingdom Hearts 4, they rebooted back to 1. So,
what?
Huh?
What was that?
Yes.
Really?
So Kingdom Hearts 4 is going is time travel. They're going back to one to
Wait. Is it time travel or are they rebooting it? Because those are not the same thing.
well, the way the director, the way the game producer was explaining it, it's a reboot kind of thing because they rebooted what happened with the box and everything to tie in with Xehanort and the Master of Masters.
I hadn't
I
even
don't
heard
know
of
enough
that.
about the lore of this to even understand what's going on.
How
You
you
know
get
what?
what I'm saying?
I do. I hadn't heard that it was getting a treatment like that. But I know of the theory that the box is essentially like kind of like a button they can press to completely reboot the entire universe to like start over from zero, from what I had heard. I hadn't heard anything about a reboot.
It might be that, but when I was when I was reading it, it was similar with where it was reboot, but it was going back talk about how the Master of Masters got this box and what's up with this box. So, but do well the question is, do y'all feel like reboots are essential for long running games?
Maybe not essential, but I sure think they're going better for games than they are for movies. Regardless of that, I think it's really good, especially because, like, think about the fact that a lot of people of more recent generations, I don't want to say that they don't have the skill necessary to go back and play a lot of those old games. I'm going to phrase it as a lot of those older games are not accessible to people who grow up with more modern games. Like,
I I
if,
totally agree with you about that one. I totally do. Now,
yeah,
and I can say, and when the game mechanic with a game, okay, to piggyback with your statement, I'm gonna ask a question. Do y'all play Pokemon?
yes,
Sometimes I've dabbled.
Okay. Have y'all played Pokemon in the older days, like Fire
yes.
Red, Black and White,
Gold, yellow, and blue.
Gold, Yellow, and Blue?
Look this
Compare
shit up.
compare those games to the recent Pokemon games. Are they a lot kind of easier?
They're a lot kind of bad. They're a lot kind of not staying enough in the oven, long enough in the oven. They aren't staying enough in there.
The
What
Pokemon
made
games
why
have been a little underbaked as of late.
what
Absolutely.
what do y'all really think that?
I mean, okay, let me put it this way, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Pokemon series cannot survive one more mainline game without voice acting. Not one more. Do you have any idea how badly the most recent games have needed it? With how deep they're going into like having story and all the cutscenes.
Oh my gosh, they're cut. Oh my gosh, they're
I
cut.
actually disagree with you.
Really?
I do. I think all the Pokemon needs is to actually fucking run on the console it's put on. At least half decently. I mean, take a look at the latest Pokemon was it Scarlet and Violet?
Yeah.
And then look at Tears of the Kingdom.
Oh my gosh.
I
That
got
is
so many arguments with Pokemon diehards about, oh, it's not that bad.
yeah, no,
Tears
I
of
don't understand those
Tears
people.
Tears of the Kingdom made Pokemon Scarlet and Violet just look like it should have came out on the NES 30 years ago. It just was that bad. And I was like, and I don't get wrong, I love Pokemon to the day I die, but Tears of the Kingdom was smoother. And they
Remember the
tells
PS2 trees in Sword and Shield?
yes.
No, that was N64 trees, actually. Yeah.
I'll
Yes.
answer your questions like this, Ace. I think I think in a lot of situations reboots are necessary. I mean, take a look at Resident Evil 5 to Resident Evil 6 and then Resident Evil 7. Like they got back to their roots. Resident Evil 8, they started kind of mixing and kind of playing with it a little more, but that was necessary for the series to survive. Remakes, I can't think of many terrible ones. Resident Evil 2 remake was a masterpiece.
Yes,
Resident
it
Evil
was.
4 remake was a fucking absolute masterpiece, and you wouldn't think it was necessary for a game that came out on the PS2 that looked as good as it did. Dead Space
Remake,
remake, incredible. All of them.
remakes, I don't mind remakes because Kingdom Hearts got all the remixes, and that's just a remake with different levels and everything, different abilities and stuff, and different stuff. Remakes, I don't have a problem with it. It's the reboots to like classics for me. Like Dead Space got a reboot, but nobody hears about the Dead Space reboot. Have y'all heard about the Dead Space reboot?
I have not heard much about the Dead Space reboot.
A little
Exactly.
bit, but not a whole lot.
I know there's a
Now,
remake.
What? Remake, I feel like it's reboot because it tells a totally different story.
You know, I could see why you would argue that. However, I don't agree. Resident Evil 2 remake, Mr. X comes in Leon A's campaign story when it only ended up on Claire's. And I would consider Resident Evil 2 remake to be a reboot in that way. You know, different story stuff. Marvin giving Leon his knife that ends up in Resident Evil 4 remake.
now I want to bring up a different thing real quick. Because with Fable being a reboot, now let me ask you, Ace, would you prefer the next Fable game be modern day?
No, it'd be stupid.
Because the third game, would you prefer them just not make any more Fable then? Because the third game was literally taking place during the Industrial Revolution. They could go forward, or they could go a little further back. It seems like it's going to be more of a soft reboot. I don't know how much they're going to change overall. It feels like they're going to still. It still feels like Fable in my eyes, is the thing, you know? Like, the feeling that I felt when the main character in the newest trailer, uh, or the stand-in for the main character, you're going to be able to customize, which of course you are. It's a modern day game. Uh, Kicked the chicken, and the passing peasant was just like, good one. My heart. I just, I'm so excited for that game. I don't care if they're basically starting over from square one story wise. They just need to make it good. Although I do still hope to look absolutely wicked if I decide to be evil. Gonna be sad if I don't.
When I saw the dude who plays Moss in the IT crowd on like his face come up during the Fable trailer,
Yeah.
and I didn't know it was Fable, I made a joke like, "Oh my god, IT crowd the video game, finally a new IP." Finally, I can do the IT work of my dreams and not the IT work I do in real life.
Okay, well,
But reboots, man, like, I mean, look at Zelda. You know, because they rebooted it, we got Tears of the Kingdom. They specifically said if we keep following the Ocarina of Time formula, it's too rigid for us to keep it up. We wanted to be creative. We wanted to do something new. I didn't like Breath of the Wild as much.
Right.
I absolutely loved Tears of the Kingdom because
They're
Breath of the
really
Wild felt like a framework for what Tears of the Kingdom ended up being.
they're really tightening up that formula they're getting.
And now going forward, we're going to be moving closer to the Breath of the Wild formula and Tears of the Kingdom formula than they were for the Ocarina of Time one. And you know what? All better for it. At this point, we're just playing the same game with different stories.
All
now,
right. Now,
okay, go ahead.
unfortunately, we've only got 3 minutes left for this, so we're gonna need to wrap it up. So for now, this has been a double feature about the gaming industry with your host Moss,
And Ace.
with our
And
special
Collin.
guest Collin. Now I want to say, get out there, cause chaos, play games, reboot yourself into whatever you want to be, and we are gonna be out of here. Peace out.
Later.
Ace.
Do you know what just happened? Because I have no idea.